Good morning, Internet, and welcome back to Matic Film Society. Today we are taking out the new to me Yashica Electro 35 GT. This first roll that I'll be shooting is some expired Kodak Max Beauty 400.
Beautiful.
I don't know if there's any difference between this and the standard Kodak Max 400. Hopefully it just adds some extra beauty sauce to the images.
Saucy.
For this roll, I took the Yashica out into the city to see how it performs with some street photography. But first, the obligatory picture of my dog in the park before we ventured out into the mean streets of SLC. At first glance, I'm really excited about how this camera is functioning. I think these images came out really good, especially considering that the film was hella expired. What I noticed most about shooting with the Yashica was how ridiculously silent it was. You can barely hear the shutter firing, and for the most part, I was convinced that the camera wasn't even working. One negative about the camera is that you can't shoot it in full manual mode. It only shoots in aperture priority. So you choose the f-stop and it picks the proper shutter speed depending on what the ISO of your film is. It also doesn't pick standard shutter speeds. If the meter decides that it needs a shutter speed of 1 over, say, 318, that's what it picks. So I guess it has stepless shutter speeds? I don't know. Now I also have some batteries in the camera that aren't the correct voltage for the light meter. So to account for that while shooting 400 speed film, I dropped my ISO down to 320. But I was also shooting expired film, which requires some extra light, so I then dropped my ISO down even further to 200. One of the major things I need to realize when shooting on a rangefinder is that what I'm seeing is not going to be the exact framing of the final image. When I was taking a photo where I was trying to place certain objects to cut through the frame, I often noticed that I got my framing pretty wrong. Let's talk about this lens. This lens is fantastic. It's razor sharp in the center and has very little fall off in the corners, with only very slight vignetting. I'm absolutely in love with the 45mm f1.7 on this thing. We're out here shooting today on the Electro 35 GT. This is the first roll that I've ever put through this camera. It's some expired film from Japan that I really have no idea how long it's been alive or how much sensitivity this film's even gonna have anymore. So this is all really experimentation. The camera's brand new, so I also don't know if the meter works properly. We've got some batteries in there that are probably messing the meter up quite a bit. But we're just wandering around Salt Lake, trying to see what we see and playing with the new camera, seeing if any of the stuff that we did to it is working, seeing how everything goes, seeing how if it has any light leaks, anything like that. So far, I'm really enjoying shooting with this camera. I don't totally love the focusing ring yet. It's just not there for my fingers, but I mean, it's pretty lovely. It's got a 45mm f1.7. Let's see if we can make anything. I have no idea if the meter's working. It tells me it's slow sometimes, but it never tells me that it's over even when I point it at the sun. So is it working? I don't know. After shooting in the city, I took the Yashica to a friend's hockey game to see how it performed indoors. Being able to shoot indoors with my meter rated at 200 and still able to have a reasonably high shutter speed with the f1.7 lens makes me want to take this camera literally everywhere I go. What I was really excited to see was how this camera handled shooting in the studio. The main drawback I found is that the minimum focusing distance isn't exactly ideal for shooting portraits. On a 45mm lens, its minimum focus distance is 2.8 feet, which is just a little too far when doing a straight-on portrait.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try the Electro. Not being able to control my settings is also a major drawback when doing studio work. This camera just seems to be more at home for fast-paced shooting on the street. The focusing is super easy and the split patch in the rangefinder is nice and bright.
Do I just press the button?
Yeah, it's cocked and loaded. And so like looking through the viewfinder, there's gonna be this little yellow patch. And so what you wanna do is those two images in the little yellow patch, you wanna bring those so they're all straight. And then just press the button, I guess. I don't know, it doesn't feel like it works. Right? Did you feel like you took a picture?
No.
I don't know either. I mean, you're too obedient because now you're facing the wrong way.
Aww.
Okay, I didn't think you're gonna lay on it, but all right. It seems to work. Just got back up a little bit. I think give us more light.
Oh, look at the good guy. Why is he so good?
I heard it make electronic noises. How do we open this thing? Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, yes. Kodak Max Beauty 400. What do you think this is gonna look like? You know what? I think this is working. Come look at this. So like you can shoot it with the film door open. It doesn't have a thing that turns it off.
Oh yeah.
It kind of looks like it goes, right? I've got a feeling that maybe it's working. Like you see how it flickers? Like every time I touch the shutter button, it like shutters, but then when you actually push it halfway down, where this should indicate slow, like if I crank this down to 16 and like cover up the light sensor, like the slow thing comes on when I half press it. Mm-hmm. So like the slow is working, but the over's never working. The over never like tells me that it's overexposed, and I've pointed it like straight at the sun, and it still said like, oh yeah, I can take a picture. And I pressed it and it took a picture, and so I'm like, there's no way that thing really could have, because it was pointed at the sun. It needed like an 8,000th of a shutter speed. The first roll's done. Overall, I'm in love with the new camera. I'm so excited about it that I've decided to give it away. My brother Parker, who you've also seen on this channel, has decided to join the dark side and shoot film.
Turn to the dark side.
So I'm going to give this camera to him so we can have ourselves a good old-fashioned rangefinder battle. Thanks for watching, and if you've made it this far, why not subscribe to the channel? We do film and digital photography, as well as a bunch of video production techniques. You're gonna love it.